Hey, so I went out and bought myself a new tool, the Grizzly track saw. They had a huge sale, and it was like one of those things where you kind of have to buy it. They were almost forcing me to. I think it was like $100 off. So I got the saw, the track, and an accessory pack which had a couple of bits and the clamps in it. There is one piece. This piece here on the saw, I don't know if you could see this or not. Let me take this off. It's just a little clamp, but what it does is it locks the saw so the saw won't tilt while you're on the track. I'm not sure if that came with the track saw itself or if it came with the accessory pack, but I think that that's one of those things that you definitely want to have. I wanted to do just a quick video of my first impressions, first cuts with this saw, because I know how everybody likes those. You're going out and buying a saw and you're thinking to yourself, ugh, do I really want to spend the money on this? So what I'm going to do is put this track on here. The clamps just slide up. And clamp on, and I'm going to use both of them. I'm going to have a hard time with this now. I'm going to use both of them because, well, you know what? I don't even think I need both of them. I'm just going to use the one. And this little tab that I was talking about, that adjusts, and it goes, yeah, it just goes under a lip there, so that keeps this from teetering, and I'm going to need that because I'm going to be doing a 45-degree cut. There's also some guides on the side to make sure that it doesn't move back and forth, and I got those locked in, so I think that I'm good to go. This is going to be a little awkward the way I have it set up, but you know what, I'm just going to climb right up here. Okay, so the cut went good, a little slow, but you know, this isn't the most powerful miter saw there is. The plastic ribbing, there's some plastic on the saw, and I guess that's not totally necessary because it just cut off as I was going. The cut on this side is pretty good. The cut on this side leaves a little to be desired. The reason I wanted this saw is because I can't fit a panel saw in my shop. You need a straight cut, a table saw quality cut, but you can't put the piece on the table saw, or it's too big to put in the miter saw. I think this is going to really come in handy. The saw slides fairly effortlessly, now that I know that I don't have to do that. I saw some things, guys didn't like the tension on the spring. I don't know. I would say I'm of average strength and I didn't even notice it. There's a couple of lock knobs here. Loosen those. I'm trusting that this 45 is accurate. I really hope it is. This is going to be one of those times where this lock piece on the other side is really helping out, because that's going to keep the whole saw from tilting over.
So this first cut was really difficult. I tried going all the way down on the plunge, and I think it was too much for the saw. On the subsequent cut, I did smaller passes, lighter passes, and that worked out much better. This was way too difficult. The saw could not handle cutting 1 3/4 on a 45 at all. But when I did the second side, and I'll show you that, it was much smoother. I just went down a little bit, went through, brought it back, went down a little bit more, and that cut was much, much better. I'm sure it didn't help the saw at all, because it was 1 3/4 was too thick for the saw to go through, so the blade wasn't coming through the board, so that made it a lot worse. This is not going well.
Alright, that did not go well at all. It does look fairly straight, but as I'm sure you know, when you're doing a 45, it's got to be dead straight. Now, it also didn't go all the way through. It's almost through. It seems like it's just going to break off. So, I have no choice. I got to cut this other side. So I'm going to flip this around. Line it up with the edge.
To be fair, this is probably the most difficult cut that you could ever put this saw through. I ended up doing it and it did come out good, but that first cut was just awful. The second cut was perfectly fine, there was no problems with it at all, but it needed to go through, more than once. But because I have that track, every time I go on that line, it's the same exact spot, so that was good.
So, because that saw blade didn't cut all the way through, I have this lip here where the blade didn't fully penetrate. I took a sheetrock knife and I scored a line as close as I thought I could get to where the cut comes down, just to try to save the grain. And now I'm going to clean this up with just a hand plane. Okay, moment of truth. And it's square. Okay, so to continue with my review of this track saw, I'm going to make another cut. I have the offcut from that big slab. I want to make a straight edge. So normally you do this with a joiner. I'm going to try out doing it with the track saw and see how it works. So we're going to try this. I have it lined up. I just made a straight line on here. So we'll see how it is. I think with the track saw, you have to make a cut to get rid of the excess rubber on the track. Otherwise, you're not going to know exactly the line that it's going to cut. So we're going to try this now, and this will get rid of all the rubber. Alright, so that made a nice clean table saw quality edge without a table saw or a line to reference it against. So, I mean, this thing's going to have all kinds of uses, and I'm really glad that I got it. This was just my first look at the Grizzly, I don't know what this thing is, T10687 track saw. I think this is the only one they have. They have a mini track saw, but what are you going to do with a mini track saw? I don't know. If you're going to buy something, get the big one. And I don't want to hear any comments about how the Festool is better. Clearly, it's 5 times the price. Bye.